Chapter 9, Toast Thrill Park, Singapore. Eddie walked down the east corridor on the way to his grandmother's bedroom, admiring the cluster of old photographs that had been hung salon-style over a damask-covered settee. In the centre was a framed oversized print of his great-grandfather Shang Long Ma, posing next to several enormous elephant tusks and a jewel-turbaned Maharaja after a safari in India. Next to that hung a studio portrait of his grandfather, Sir James Young, in the late 30s, looking very into the matinee idol in his houndstooth jacket and white fedora and improbably clutching a Norwich terrier in his arms. How dapper he looked. Who made that blazer for him? Could it be Huntsman or Davis and Son? Eddie wondered. I wish I had known him back then. Of all his grandsons, I'm obviously the only one who inherited his style. Lower down on the wall was a long rectangular photo of his grandmother Suyi wearing a tea dress, sprawled elegantly on a picnic blanket in what looked like the Jardin du Luxembourg. Next to her were two French ladies, and each of them clutched intricate lace parasols that appeared to be straining against a gust of wind. The two ladies were laughing, but Suyi stared straight into the camera, perfectly composed. How beautiful she had been in her youth! Eddie scrutinized the signature that had been sprawled at the bottom of the print. J.H. Latte. Holy fuckballs, did the great French photographer Jacques Henri Latte really take the picture of Armand? Jesus, this is priceless. I must have it for my office. It could go right next to my Cartier Preston print of the boy holding the wine bottles. No one else would appreciate this photograph like I would. If I took this photo and replaced it with one of the other hanging on the other wall, would anyone notice? Eddie looked around the corner to see if any of the maids were sulking nearby. There were so many goddamn maids everywhere. No one had any privacy to steal a thing in this house. That's when he heard the slow, deep moan. Oh, it was coming from the door halfway down the hallway that had been left slightly ajar. Eddie quickly realized it was the suite where his cousin Adam and Pia Akara was staying. He knew that this would be kinky. He knew that ties could be kinky, but would they really leave the door ajar like this while they were having their morning nookie? Anyone coming down this corridor could hear them. Then again, if that sexy Pia was his wife, he'd ride her into next week and not give a damn if the whole house could hear. Eddie crept close to the door, and a woman's voice could be heard giggling. Suddenly another guttered voice could be heard moaning over the first one. Gwa, gwa, wait a minute. There were two guys in the room, and then the second male voice moaned. Oh yeah, right there, I go deeper. Eddie's eyes widened as he recognized that voice. It was his brother Alistair. What the fuck was happening? Was Alistair having a menage a trois with his Thai cousin right under his grandmother's roof while she lay dying? That's sacrilegious. Whenever he came to visit his grandmother, he always had the common decency of checking his latest mistress into the Shangri-La hotel nearby. He would never think of sleeping with anyone that wasn't his wife in his dear Armand's house. Eddie barged into the room in a self-righteous fit. What in God's name do you think you're? He began, and then he stopped in surprise. Pia was seated on the Chase lounge, sipping her morning cappuccino, coolly elegantly in a sleeveless Kelly green silk top with matching pencil pants from Rosia Saluni. Eddie swung round and discovered the most curious sight. Sitting at the foot of the silver enameled four-poster bed was Alistair, stripped to the waist, and leaning over was his uncle Taxon, digging his elbows deep into Alistair's shoulder. Adam lay face down, naked on the bed, while his mother straddled his sides, massaging his lower back with coconut. Oh, Adam groaned as Pia continued to giggle. I told you boys to do some stretches before your badminton match, but you didn't listen, did you? Catherine chided as she rubbed Adam's lower back vigorously. Dude, Uncle Taxon is giving me the best Thai massage on the planet. You really should try it, Alistair said. Eddie stared at the scene in disbelief. He couldn't believe that the Thai prince was giving his brother a massage. Shouldn't your maids be doing this? No, Mummy's the best, Adam sighed through his pillow. Pia laughed. All the Akara boys have been spoiled by their parents giving them massages since they were little. Adam doesn't even like it when I try to massage him. Only Mummy will do. Catherine looked up at Eddie, his chin smeared with a drop of coconut oil as she kneaded her fingers deep into Adam's butt muscles. Do you want a massage? I'm almost done here. No, I'm fine, thanks. I'm not. I only played the first set, remember? Eddie started uncomfortable at seeing his auntie touching her own son down there. You don't know what you're missing, Alice sighed contentedly. Just on my way to see Amma, Eddie said, look backing out of the room as fast as he could. Those Akaras were such strange people. Imagine giving their children massages when they had a posse of prostrating services at their beck and call, and he could barely believe that Auntie Cat and his mother were sisters. They were such polar opposites. His mother was always so poised and ladylike, while Cat was this no-nonsense woman with the tomboyish ways. Her arms, her face, practically the whole front of her body was smeared with coconut oil as she gave her son a massage. His mother didn't even like putting moisturizer on his own hands. How the hell did Cat even manage to snag a prince? Of all the sisters, his mother had clearly made the worst match, not including old maid Auntie Victoria, of course. He entered his grandmother's private study and saw his father huddled in conversation with Professor Orne. Malcolm Cheng was one of Asia's most respected heart surgeons and had only recently retired as the chief of the cardiology center at Hong Kong Sanatorium. Professor Orne was one of his proteges, and he was obviously keeping close tabs on Sun Yi's condition. "How's the patient doing today?" Eddie said cheerily. Don't interrupt when I'm talking," his father scowled at him, turning back to Professor Orne. "And I'm really not happy with the fluid building in her lungs." "I know, Malcolm," Professor Orne murmured worriedly. Eddie went into the bedroom, where he found his mother rearranging the vase of flowers that had been sent to Su Yi. Every day, several dozens new arrangements were delivered to the house, along with cases upon cases of brand essence of chicken. "Mummy hates hydrangeas." "Who sent them?" Alex said, opening the creamy thick envelope to look at the card. "Oh God, it's from the Shears." "Well, I suppose we have to keep the flowers here until Mummy wakes up to see them. She was so close to Benjamin. He was the doctor who delivered me, you know." "Oh, look, I think she's awake now," Eddie said excitedly as he ran over and crouched beside her. "Dear Ma, how are you feeling today?" Sue's throat was too dry to talk, but she managed to mutter water. "Yes, of course, Mother. Ma needs some water now." Alex looked around and grabbed the nearest pitcher. "Just why is this empty?" she said irritably as she ran into the bathroom to refill. She came back out and started to pour some water into the plastic cup with the sippy straw attached. "Is this tap water? Are you trying to kill Amma?" Eddie snapped at his mother. "What do you mean? Singapore tap water is perfectly safe," Alex argued. "Amma should only drink sterilized water in her condition. Where's the damn Swiss water that the Akaras have been guzzling non-stop? Why isn't any of it here? And where are her goddamn lady maids when you need them? I sent them to prepare her breakfast." "Well, call down and get them to bring some of this Swiss water too," Eddie ordered. Su Yi sighed, shaking her head in annoyance. Why were all her children so incapable of fulfilling this simple request? Alice could see the look of frustration on her mother's face and quickly decided to override her son. "Step aside, Eddie. Let me give her this water now." "No, let me," Eddie insisted, grabbing the cup from her hand and leaning down to his grandmother while mastering his best Florence Nightingale expression. When Su Yi was hydrated and feeling more revived, she gazed around her bedroom as if searching for something. "Where's Astrid?" she asked. "Look, Astrid isn't here at the moment," Alex said, not wanting to mention anything about the unfolding scandal surrounding her niece. She made eye contact with Eddie, suddenly warning him not to say anything. "Astrid went to India," Eddie announced with a smirk. Alex glared at her son in dismay. Why was he trying to agitate his grandmother like this? "Oh, good, she went," Su Yi said. Eddie couldn't hide his surprise. "You knew about this? You knew that Charlie Wu's proposal?" Su Yi said nothing. She closed her eyes, her lips curled into a slight smile. Suddenly she opened her eyes again and looked questioningly at Alex. "And Nikki?" What about Nikki?" Alex asked carefully. "Isn't he supposed to be back by now?" "Do you mean you want to see Nikki?" Alex asked, trying to clarify. "Of course, where is he?" Su Yi said. Before Alex could answer, Eddie's cutting. Nikki unfortunately had to cancel his trip at the last minute. Something came up for work, and he couldn't make it back just yet. You know how important that history professor job is to him. He had to deliver a lecture on the intergalactic wars." "Oh," Su Yi said simply. Alex stared at her son, amazed at his bold-faced lie. She was about to say something when Su Yi's lady's maid entered the breakfast tray. "Mummy," Alex began when she suddenly felt Eddie grab her arms forcefully from behind and pulled her into Su Yi's dressing room. From there he took his mum into the balcony and shut the class door firmly behind Eddie. "I don't know what's got into you. What was that nonsense about Nikki? What kind of game are you playing this time?" Alex demanded, squinting at him under the glare of the morning sun. "I'm not playing any games, Mother. I'm just letting nature take its course," and stared at her son in the eye. "Eddie, I want the truth. Did Amma really tell you that she didn't want Nikki in the house?" She almost went into a category when I mentioned his name," Eddie sputtered. Then tell me why she just asked for him." Eddie paced around the balcony looking for a shady spot to stand. "Can't you see Nikki only wants to see Amma so that he can beg for her forgiveness?" "Yes, and I'm all for it. Why shouldn't he be allowed to patch things up with her?" "Are you crazy or what? Do I really need to spell out for you? I'm fighting for what's rightfully mine." Alex threw up her hands in exasperation. You're delusional, Eddie. Do you really think my mom is going to change her will and leave you to Tyshawn Park? She already has, Mother. Didn't you see how Freddie Tan acted the other day after he came to visit Amma? He seemed his usual friendly self to me. Maybe he's always been friendly to you, but to me he behaved in a way that he never has. The man has hardly exchanged 2 words with me over the past 30 years, but the other day he spoke to me as if I was his great biggest client. He told me I was the man of the hour, and then he spent an inordinate amount of time talking to me about my watch collection. What does that tell you? Only that Freddie Tan is a watch you needed to take like you. No, Mother. Freddie Tan was trying to give me a hint about being the man of the hour in Ammar's new will. He already sucked up to us. Can't you see? Now, do you want to ruin all that and see Ammar give Nikki this house you grew up in? Alex gave a weary sigh. Eddie, this house is already supposed to be his. We have all known since the day Nicky was born that it was meant for him. He's a young. That's right, he's a young. All my bloody life people have been telling me he's a young and I'm just a Cheng. This is all your fault. My fault. I don't understand you half. My fault. I don't understand you half the time. Well, why the hell did you have to marry Dad, a complete nobody from Hong Kong? Why couldn't you marry someone else like a Kara or a Leong, someone with a respectable surname? Didn't you think of how it would affect your children? Didn't you realize how it has fucked up my whole life, Eddie said. Alex looked at her son's petulant expression and for a moment felt the urge to slap him. Instead, she took a deep breath, she sat down on one of the wrought iron chairs and said through her gritted teeth, I'm glad I married your father. He may not have inherited an empire or been born a prince, but for me he is far more impressive. He built himself up from nothing to become one of the world's leading cardiologists, and his hard work has sent you to the best schools and given us a lovely home. Eddie laughed, mocking. A lovely home? Oh my, Mum, your flat is a disgrace. I think 95% of the population of Hong Kong would beg to differ. And don't forget, we even brought you your first flat when you graduated from university to help you get started. Ha! Leo Ming was given $100 million to tech company when he graduated. And where has that gotten him, Eddie? I don't see that Leo has accomplished much in his life except expand his number of ex-wives. We gave you the support to become successful on your own terms. I can't believe you failed to see all the advantages your father and I tried to give you. How did we manage to raise you to be so ungrateful? I don't hear Cecilia or Alistair complain about their lives or their surname. They're both underachieving losers. Cecilia is so obsessed with her horses. You should have named her Catherine the Great. And Alistair and his film production bullshit. Who in Hong Kong has ever seen any of those strange art house movies that his director friends make? Fallen angels. You should have been caught falling asleep. I'm the only one of the children who has ever accomplished a damn thing. Do you really want to know what having the surname Chung has done for me? It meant that I didn't get to go to Robiko Chung's birthday party at Ocean Park when we were in primary 2. It meant that I didn't get picked for the debate team at Dyson. It meant that I didn't get asked to be a groomsman at Andrew Ladori's wedding. It meant that I knew I would never get a cushy no-show job at one of the Hong Kong banks and had to spend half my life licking the balls of everyone at Lickenberg Group in order to crawl my way up to the top. I never realized you felt that way. Alex shook her head sadly. That's because you never bothered to get to know your own children. You never really had time to care about our needs. Alex got up from her chair, finally losing her patience. I'm not going to sit here in the hot sun and listen to you whine about being a neglected child when you jet around the world and hardly ever make time for your own kids. Well, that's fitting, isn't it? Dad spent most of my childhood flying to medical conference in Sweden or Switzerland while you were always off buying properties in Vancouver. You never listened to me. You never once asked me what I truly wanted. You've never even given me a butt massage, Eddie wailed as he collapsed onto one of the balcony chairs, his body suddenly racked with sobs. Alex stared at her son, thinking that he must have temporarily gone mad. Eddie wiped away his tears and glared at his mother. If you truly cared about children, if you truly love us as you say you do, you will say nothing to Ammar about Nikki. Don't you see what a perfect opportunity this is for us? We need to make sure he never gets to see her, and we need to keep reinforcing to Auntie Felicity that Astrid is still not welcome here. We can tell Uncle Philip that Ammar is too weak to see anyone. I will play myself outside Ammar's bedroom at all times. Nobody's going to get in or out without my approval. This is insane, Eddie. You cannot restrict our other family members from seeing Ammar like this. This is not insane, Eddie screamed. You're insane if you allow us to lose this opportunity. This could be our only chance to get to Tyshawn Park. Yes, ow. You see, I'm always thinking of what's best for our family. I'm not doing this just for me, but for Alice and Cecile and all their precious grandchildren. If we are the new owners of Tyshawn Park, no one can ever say that the Chengs aren't just as great as the Youngs or the Shangs. Please don't ruin everything for us now. Okay, chapter 10. Toasterville Park, Singapore. Which bottle? Jaya asked in Cantonese as she stood in the third high step of the wooden roller ladder. Look for any bottle from before 1950, Arling instructed. The maid squinted her eyes at the ancient yellowing labels affixed to the front of the large glass canisters, looking at the dates. She remembered going to a fancy herbal shop in Shenzhen when she was a teenager and seeing some precious golden tin of Yanwu in a locked glass cabinet in the pride of place behind the cash register. Her mother had explained that the container was full of edible bird's nest, one of the most expensive delicacies in China. Now she was looking at the entire shelving unit lined with them. I can't believe that all these bottles are filled with Yanwu. It must be worth a fortune. This is why we keep this larder under lock and key, Arling said. All these bottles came from Mrs. Young's father. Mr. Sheng owned a company that supplied the finest Yanwu in Asia, taken from the most prized caves in Borneo. Is this how they became so rich? You can't build a fortune from the Shengs on Yanwu alone. This was just one of the many companies Mrs. Sheng owned. The maid climbed down from the ladder, hugging a huge bottle almost as big as her entire torso. She stared through the musty glass at what looked like dried white husk, marveled at the precious treasure inside. Have you ever tried it? Of course, Mrs. Young always has a bowl prepared for me on my birthday. What does it taste like? I can't quite describe it. It's like nothing you've ever tried. It's more about the texture. It's sort of like snow fungus, but more delicate. But here, Ching makes it into a dessert soup. She cooks it in a double boiler with a dry logan and a rock sugar for 48 hours and then puts shaved ice over it. It's marvelous now. Third rack from the bottom on that shelf over there. Get me 3 cups of dry logan. Ling instructor as she carefully marked the amount of bird's nest she had taken out of the canister in a ledger book. Whose birthday is it now? Jia asked. Nobody, but Mrs. Young's brother Arthur Sheng is coming over for Friday night dinner, and we know how much he likes Yanwu, so he gets to have it whenever he wants. Of course, this used to be his house too, you know. Life is unfair, Jia muttered as he strained to open the lid of the bottle of the dry logans. There was a knock on the door, and Vikram, the head of security, poked his head in and smiled at Ali. There you are, Ali said you were down in the larder, but he didn't say which one. I searched 2 other larders before finding you. I only ever come to the dry goods larder because only I have the key. The other larders I never bother with. What do you need? Vikram eyed the young maid scooping out the dry logans into a bowl and said to the housekeeper, May I have a few minutes of your time after you're done with this? Arlene looked over at Jia, taking everything up to Ai Ching now. And maybe if you're very nice to her, she will let you have a little taste of the Yanwu on Friday. As soon as the maid had left the room, Aileen said in a slightly weary tone, What is the problem today? Well, I've been going through something in my mind for the last couple of days. Vikram began. You know how Joey's been on leave since his mother's surgery? Well, I took over the patrol schedule myself, and the other day when I was on the roof, I overheard something rather interesting coming from Mrs. Young's balcony. Arlene's ears poked out. What's so interesting? It was Eddie Chen talking to his mother. From what I could gather, it sounds like Mrs. Young never said she didn't want to see Nikki. I think Eddie made it all up. Arlene cracked a smile. I suspected this all along. So you has never banned anyone from this house before, and surely not Nikki from all people. I felt it was wrong too, but what can I say? Clearly Eddie has an agenda of his own, and he's the one who has instigated this ban of Nikki, and Victoria has fallen for his ploy. What did Alex have to say? I'm surprised she's going along with it. Mother and son are usually at loggerheads. She didn't say much. He was so busy screaming that the poor old woman could hardly get a word in. Apparently Eddie has held a grudge against his mother for a very long time because she won't massage his buttocks. What? Arlene made a face. Vikram couldn't help but chuckle. Yes, I know, strange family. What can you expect? These Hong Kongers, anyway. Alex tried to reason with Eddie, but he's determined to make sure Nikki doesn't get to see Mrs. Young at all. He's gotten in his fat head that he alone will inherit Toasterville Park. But while he's been planning himself outside her room for the past 2 days like a Doberman, he's not letting anyone in who will ruin his plan. Sexy girl. Aileen muttered angrily. Sexy. Vikram peeked out of the larder door for a moment to see if there was anyone within earshot before continuing low voice. Now, from what I understand, Mrs. Young thinks Nikki had to cancel his trip because of the intergalactic wars. She has been kept completely in the dark and has no idea he's even back at the island. Astrid is being kept away too, and none of those daughters are going to tell her anything. We need to do something about this. Arlene laid out alongside. I don't know if we can interfere. This is a family matter. I don't like to get mixed in their quarrels, and I especially don't want either of us to get in trouble for this. After Suyi is gone, Mrs. Young isn't going anywhere, Vikram sputtered. Vikram, we both have to face it. I don't think Suyi is going to last much longer. I see her waning day by day, and we have no idea who's going to get control of Tysra Park. God forbid it could be Eddie. We need to be extra careful, especially now. I've seen what has happened before in this family. You weren't around when Sensei's Tai passed away. My God, the drama. I think there's going to be drama no matter what. But you practically raised Nikki. Don't you want to see him get into the house? Don't you want him to get the house? Arlene gestured for Vikram to follow her to the back of the larder. Of course I do, she whispered. We both know it would be ideal if Nicky is the new master of Tysra Park. He is our best hope to keep things just the way they are. That's why we have to do what we can to make sure he gets to see Mrs. Young. But what can we do? How are we going to get Nicky into the house and into her bedroom without the whole family knowing about it, without losing our jobs? Vikram got a lump in his throat, but he continued to speak. Arlene, I swore an oath, Gurkha's oath, to protect and serve Mrs. Young with my life. I feel like I would be betraying her if I didn't see that her wishes are followed. You just confirmed that she wants to see Nicky, right? Arlene nodded. I have a feeling she's hanging on to see him. Well, it's my duty to make sure that happens, even if I lose my job. You're an honourable man, Arlene said as she sat down on the wooden stool, momentary lost in thought. She gazed up the rows and rows of glass bottles containing the world's rarest fruits, wild mountain ginseng, preserved abalone, caterpillar fungus, precious herb that had been stored here since before World War II. Suddenly remembering one afternoon back in the early 80s, Suki had taken out a leather box from the vault filled with old medals that she wanted Arlene to polish with extra care. Most of them were honours given over the years to Suki's husband, his Order of the British Empire badge, a medal from the Kings of St. John's of Syria, and various decorations from Malay royals, but one medal stood out, an 8-point Maltese cross made of pewter, and at its centre was a large amethyst. What did Dr. Young receive this medal for? Arlene asked, holding up the translucent gemstone to the light. Oh, this wasn't his. This was given to me after the war by the Queen. Don't bother to polish that, Suyi answered. How come I never knew you were honoured by the Queen? Suyi huffed dismissively. Wasn't very significant. It wasn't very significant to me. Why would I care about the Queen of England? Why would I care what the Queen of England thinks? The British abandoned us during World War II. Instead of sending more troops to defend the colony that helped to make them rich, they retreated like cowards and wouldn't even leave us with real weapons. So many young men, my cousins, my half-brothers, died trying to hold back the Japanese. Arlene nodded her head gravely. So what did you get this medal for? So you gave a rise. One night during the night of the occupation, I got careless. I was in the Botanic Gardens with a small group of friends, and none of us should have been there. The island was under curfew, and the gardens were locked up in the evenings. They were especially out of bounds. A patrol of Kempten, the various vicious Japanese military police, came out of nowhere and surprised us. Now, a few of my friends couldn't risk getting caught by the Japanese. They were already on the wanted list, so I let them flee and allowed myself to be caught. I had protection papers, you see. Our family friend Lim Boon Keng had gotten me a special badge that was marked Overseas Chinese Liaison Officer, and this meant that I could go about the island unmolested by the soldiers. But these soldiers didn't bite my story. I told them that we were all just good friends out on a lark, but they still arrested me and took me back to the commanding officer. When I saw I was being taken to a certain house on Delby Estate, I remembered getting very anxious. This colony was known for its brutality. He once shot a young boy on the street just because the boy didn't salute him in the correct manner, and here I was about to face him committing a big offence. When we got to the front door, some soldier was coming and carrying a body that was covered by a bloody sheet. I thought it was all over me. Then I was about to be raped or shot, or maybe both. My heart was racing a mile a minute. They dragged me into the sitting room where I came upon the most unexpected sight. The Colonel was this tall, elegant man sitting at the grand piano playing Beethoven. I stood there just watching him perform this entire piece. When he had finished, for some reason I decided to speak first, something you were never supposed to do. I said to him, the Piano Concerto No. 5 in E-flat minor is one of my favourites. The Colonel turned and gave me this piercing stare and said in perfect English, you're familiar with this piece, you know the piano, play something for me? He got up from the stool and I sat down at the piano. I was absolutely petrified. Knowing what I chose to play could mean the difference between life and death. So I took a deep breath and thought, if I'm going to die, this is what I want to play. Debussy's Claire did Moon. I played my heart out, and when I finished, I looked up from the piano and saw that there were tears in his eyes. It turned out that before the war he had been in the German Corps in Paris. Debussy was his favourite. He let me go, and twice a week for the next year he made me come over to his house and play the piano for him. Arlene shook her head incredulously at this story. You were lucky to get away like that. How did you and your friends get into the Botanic Gardens in the first place? So you gave her a sphinx-like smile as if she was trying to decide whether or not to let you know something, and then she shared her secret. Emerging from the memory of Sue's story, an idea began to form in Arlene's mind. She looked up at Rick and said, there is a secret about this house that even you don't know, something from the war times. Rickon looked up at her in surprise. Arlene continued, now don't you have connections to this Kew household? Sure, I know the head of security very well. This is what I need you to do. Nick and Colin were spending the afternoon hanging out at Red Point Record Warehouse on the Playfair Road, where they had spent countless hours listening to obscure records back when they were teenagers. As Nick flipped back through the meticulously organised bins, he called out to Colin, did you know that the Cocteau twins collaborated with Faye Wong? No way, take a look at this, Nick said, handing him a record, while Colin read their liner notes to a rare EP recorded by the Hong Kong diva titled The Amusement Park. His phone buzzed with a text message. He glanced at the screen and read a message from Illinois Payne. He is the head of his family security team, summoning him to the father's house to pick up a package as soon as possible. Colin wondered what this was all about, and as it was highly embarrassing that Illinois to summon him like this. Hey Nick, I need to run over to my dad's place to pick up something that's apparently quite urgent. Do you want to stay here or come with me? I'll come along. If I stay any longer, I'll just end up buying the whole store, Nicky replied. The two then sped up to Colin's father's house on Leiden Road, a state Georgian mansion that looked like it had been transported straight out of Bel Air, California. Geez, it's been years since I've been there, Nick remarked as they entered the house from the front door. A grandfather clock ticked loudly in the circular foyer, and all the curtains in the foyer living room had been closed to block out the afternoon sun. Is anyone home? My dad and stepmom are on a safari in Kenya at the moment, Colin answered as a Filipino maid appeared from the corridor. Is Illinois here? No, but there's a package for you, Sir Colin, the woman replied. She went to the kitchen and returned moments later with a large padded envelope that didn't bear the markings of any Kura service. Who dropped this off, Colin said. Sir, Mr. Pang, sir. He ripped open the envelope and inside was a smaller envelope that was stamped private and confidential. There was a post-it affixed to the front of it. Colin looked up and Nick was surprised. This package is for me, it's for you. Really? Take the package. Nick saw the post-it written note. Please give this letter by hand to your friend Nicholas Young. It is imperative that he receives it by tonight. Well, this is convenient, I guess. Whoever sent this news, I'm crashing at your place, Nick said as he began tearing into the suit envelope. Wait, are you sure you want to do this, Colin? Why not? Colin glanced suspiciously. I don't know, what if there's anthrax or something there? I don't think that my life is exciting as that. But yeah, why don't you open it? Fuck no, Nick laughed as he continued to open the envelope. Has anyone told you that you have an overactive imagination, dude? Not the one getting mysterious package delivered to my best friend's house, Colin said, taking a few steps back. Thanks for listening.